Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money Channel. That $60,000 level for Bitcoin. Traders have just been flirting with that over the last couple of hours now, guys. This is the Bitcoin trend on the weekly. And, sometimes when you don't know what to make of a situation, it is always good to zoom out. You guys can see last week we did start that bullish trend to the upside. And this week we're already midway through. If you guys are watching this video on the day that I'm releasing it, Bitcoin also showing some potential this week. You guys can see the volume bar down here from last week, very, very tall. And you compare that to this week, you can't really see that volume bar. It's behind those icons there, but it is hiding behind there. Hopefully we do see more momentum to the upside in the coming days. Now, an interesting trend here, Bitcoin had been moving downward 3 days in a row before yesterday's trend to the upside. So an engulfing candlestick, two engulfing candlesticks actually, the one right before these 3 down days, a lot of bullish trading volume as you guys can see, and a very similar one from yesterday, or roughly the same size, and roughly the same amount of volume in there. So hopefully, this is a good sign that we are going to get above this first high here that we saw, the most recent high of roughly $65,100 per coin. Once we breach that, guys, the next stop is right up here, roughly $69,800 per coin. I guess it is just one step at a time. We do have to see this trend just kind of reverse. We're already making these higher lows here. So we had lower lows, and now we're starting to make higher lows. So we are starting to make our way up. Hopefully that is a sign of good things to come. We got fear in the market, guys, still kind of there. 38 in fear. We've just been hovering in around the 30s for the last little while. Market cap is up by a little bit, $2.06 trillion. 24-hour volume, that is up too by 29.96%, so almost 30% there. Bitcoin dominance, though, guys, really going up, 57.3. Let's take a look at Bitcoin dominance. The Bitcoin dominance chart over the last couple of days now has seen significant movement to the upside. In terms of Bitcoin dominance, I just got rid of all that stuff here. Let me zoom out. I wanted to keep those markers on here, because I wanted to show you guys that we are getting very, very close to that 60% level, which had previously seen some resistance back in 2020 and back in 2019. So down and around here, we've just been slowly grinding to the upside, but we are getting very, very close to that 60% level. It is going to be very interesting to see what happens before those altcoins really take off. In the last 24 hours, Bitcoin is up 1.06%, and mostly the altcoin market has just been up, down, up, down. I think a lot of traders are taking their profits out of altcoins at this moment, throwing them into Bitcoin. This is generally what happens, though. You see traders take profits and follow the coins that are already rolling. Bitcoin is generally the leader. And of course, we are seeing that yet again. There has been some news floating around. Lawmakers in the United States really do want to drill down on this cryptocurrency thing. And as the elections are looming, it's looking as though some people are getting more and more serious. Amidst this kind of news, BRICS does make a major announcement, guys, on their new payment system. So this coming from Watch Your Guru. BRICS is working towards the creation of their new payment system. This was coming from the Russian Foreign Minister, Sergei Lavrov. The minister added that the new payment system will not only be used to settle cross-border transactions, it will act as a complete financial setup. So that is brand new information that we're just learning right now. The development, when launched, could attract emerging economies toward it making a shift away from the US dollar. We know that they want to, obviously run this on DLT technology. As they've been hinting at, they want to eventually use their own currency, which will likely be a cryptocurrency. The BRICS nations, one of the representatives there did also discuss the concept of using of weighing that currency, I think it was 60% fiat and 40% gold. But they're actively doing this. The new BRICS payment system could lead to a paradigm shift in the global financial sector. And I think it is already doing that. We're seeing more and more trade going through these BRICS nations that are not going through the US dollar. The Russian minister revealed that the new BRICS payment system will be equipped with trading, investing, and along with trade settlement. So that is the biggest upgrade here. Right now, the SWIFT system is just a messaging system. There really is no real-time settlement there. They have tried to upgrade over the years, being in competition with Ripple, but really it's just an antiquated system. But guys, if the BRICS get this off the ground, they're looking at trading, investing, and trade settlement. He explained that the mechanism will allow countries to partake in financial operations without being dependent on the US dollar. The move will make the alliance's quest of de-dollarizing their economies much stronger. So that might not be great for the US dollar. Lavrov also hit out at the US and Europe for pressing sanctions on countries they don't like. He stressed that the sanctions are what led to BRICS, decision on launching the new payment system. Even U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen acknowledged that the White House sanctioning developed nations led to de-dollarization. So it's the Western world's own fault, and they're realizing it now. Of course, there's also a tech play here, right? The technology is getting better. So if you are going to modernize, you should be doing it on better tech. Smoke here bringing this to our attention, guys. Clear breakdown of how Ripple's plugin services connect to the XRP ledger in infrastructures like FedNow. So last year, there was a lot of news about FedNow. The biggest thing was that it was going to be trialed, or I guess used in a limited capacity in the United States only for domestic payments. Recently this year, we did hear that FedNow was going to expand to international payments. Well, guys, here's some more information. Service providers play a critical role in instant payment infrastructures like FedNow, which aim to deliver innovative and competitive user experiences for their customers. FedNow's instant payment capabilities are supported by Ripple-enabled services like Finastra, so one of the big Ripple partners there, which also plugs in to FedNow. And notice how he puts plugs in quotations there. All of these emerging digital payment infrastructures are built on the internet, which is where the Interledger Protocol comes into play. Now, we hear a lot about this ILP, but there's more information regarding this. The Interledger Protocol is Ripple's solution for transferring value across internet-based payment systems by using plugins like XRP or the XRP ledger. The ILP facilitates seamless settlement, bridging various payment networks. So we can see that here, guys, as some examples here. When those service providers add plugins to instant payment platforms, financial institutions can leverage their connectivity and offer it to their customers by establishing a technical connection to the platform or settlement through a third-party service provider. There's also some flowcharts here that Smoke did provide for us. Finastra total messaging system. So you guys can see it goes through Ripple, through MasterCard, one of those major payment providers, and through Thunes. So just 3 examples there, or 2 examples of Ripple partners. And Finastra, they have payment solutions for the credit union market and allow them an easy plugin. So this whole idea, this whole concept of plugging in here, this document also mentions it too. They rely on plugins for settlement. Okay, this is just another example of how they are going to get XRP utility up and running, the plugin service, the interoperability. I don't know when this interview was from, but this gentleman here describes ILP technology, the Interledger Protocol, courtesy of Mr. Man here on Twitter. Listen to this.
White paper for Interledger. What Interledger is it's a protocol for connecting different ledgers. So obviously we're interested in connecting blockchain-based ledgers, but it can connect any payment network really. So it works in a very similar way to IP on the internet. Interledger is an interoperability layer on top of all these different ledgers. So a good analogy is if you think about Bluetooth and Wi-Fi and Ethernet, those are all different networks, and you have IP as a protocol that connects them. We have Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, and what Interledger does is provide that interoperability layer on top.
So giving a bit of an analogy there to describe it a little better. Now, this coming on the heels of Ripple publishing this just yesterday, September the 17th, Going Cashless, Stablecoin Payments 101. And this was actually tweeted out by Yoshitaka Katao, CEO of SBI Holdings, which is a major Ripple partner. So, I mean, it pretty much just talks about stablecoins. I'll link it in the description if you guys want to read the full thing. But note down here, stablecoins have acted as a gateway into using blockchain and digital assets for payments. So, The world is changing. The tech was available before stablecoin utility became the buzz term. Banks, I don't think, and this is just me speculating, banks I don't think are comfortable enough just using the tech stack alone. Banks needed a gateway to get into cryptocurrencies, and so here we are with stablecoins and Ripple stablecoin as one example. So Ripple created a stablecoin because this is now the way we're going to be using the system. This is what banks can wrap their head around. This is perhaps maybe too how banks feel like they can have more control. They explain how it works here. Stablecoin for payments combines the benefit of blockchain technology, namely greater security, transparency, cost efficiency, and speed. So obviously Ripple is talking about their XRP ledger capabilities with, whether it's XRP or whether it's a stablecoin, doesn't really matter for them. As demand for stablecoins grow, particularly as cash use experiences an historic low, more individuals and businesses are considering these assets as payment alternatives. The number of Americans who say they did not want to use cash or make a purchase in cash in a typical week is now 41%, up from 29% in 2018. So all these metrics, all these statistics that they're coming up with I guess, have a reason to abolish cash. I mean, I'm of the opinion that we should still be using cash. I mean, if we do not want to be tracked, traced, if you value your privacy, make at least one cash transaction every single week. Always keep cash on hand because, the other thing is if the system goes down, I know there have been, internet outages, and there was the most recent one, CrowdStrike, I think it was, that brought down entire payment systems around the world. Not everything, but some of them. Having cash on hand is not a bad idea, guys. And, if they do abolish cash, just think of this for a second, right? How this could affect the world. So, so on the one hand, there's that part of it. I know Catherine Austin Fitts is a vocal supporter of using cash. But at the same time, governments and, financial institutions and even the private tech companies like Ripple are creating stablecoins because this is representative of cash in this next technical revolution. And then there's the controversy surrounding which stablecoin is going to be utilized. So USDT's market share, guys, grew to 75% from 55% in the last 2 years. This coming from Michael Branch. For those of you naysayers saying, USDT is going to go down, the thing is, we're looking at this through, most of us are living in the West. If you're looking at this through a Western lens, then yeah, it looks a little different than if you were to go to other countries. The largest stablecoin's market cap has almost doubled in 2 years, while key rivals declined and new entrants have yet to pose a challenge. So again, guys, going back to the stablecoin, we know Tether is number 3 here on CoinMarketCap, but there's controversy because they are not... I guess some people are suggesting that they're not being fully transparent with their audits. I don't know if that could be debated or not. Tether's USDT, though, the largest stablecoin, is not only growing larger, it's also cementing a dominant position and now accounts for almost 75% of the stablecoin market value, up from 55% just 2 years ago. So that's a big deal there. USDT supply nearly doubled in a period, growing to about 118.6 billion of the 160 billion stablecoin market, from around 65 billion, according to Token Terminal. So just to kind of bring this to light, Tether does have dominance. Tether does have a large market share. So don't count Tether out of the question. Stablecoins are going to be useful for cashing out of this bull run. For more information on what I'm going to be doing, my cash out flow chart is available over there at patreon.com/workingmoneychannel. I just sent it to one of my patrons who was wondering about it. I think I could probably post an update of some of the older posts that I posted from a few months ago. I'll bring them to the forefront for all my new subscribers over there at patreon.com/workingmoneychannel. It's basically my trading journey, what I'm going to do, what my plan is, my eventual targets for all my cryptocurrencies. I have a $15,000 plus portfolio with 18 different coins there. But there are so many coins. I still have my legacy portfolio, my XRP. So I'm trying to streamline this bull run as to make it as easy on myself as possible. So if you guys want to see what I'm doing, patreon.com/workingmoneychannel. This is interesting too, coming from Mr. Man. Notice the name of the retweet in the BIS document, Karen Gifford. Now, this was an older document from 2014, but Karen Gifford was in this BIS document. This is when she was the chief compliance officer over there at Ripple. And guys, here's what she had to say at a talk a few years ago. Listen to this.
Today I'm going to talk about technological changes in the payments space, and we've heard about some really fascinating ones earlier this afternoon, and what some of their implications are for the payment space and the financial services space generally. That's obviously a huge topic. This is a very vibrant area, so I won't try to address that question comprehensively, but I would like to make some observations about how we think about risk and opportunity in the face of the changes that are happening, and also touch on a couple of potential opportunities that I see for financial services providers in the face of these new developments. Very legitimate and real concerns regarding risk. And I don't in any way want to pick on the GAO. I think their focus is typical, and also, as I said, very legitimate. I do want to make an observation, though, that the risks of staying with the current system are sometimes less easy to identify. And we, in the payment space, certainly in the US, but elsewhere as well, are fairly dug into old technologies, and those old technologies present, I would argue, increasing risks as time goes on and technology in the rest of the economy evolves. So very briefly, the Ripple technology does eliminate those particular risks. I'm not saying it's a riskless technology. I'm not saying that it, there's no risks associated with integrating a new technology, but it does eliminate the risks associated with multi-step payment settlement. So the Ripple technology enables point-to-point settlement of funds. They're close to real time. The transactions can close in 2 to 5 seconds, and the fees associated with the payment are very low, about 1/1000th of a penny. So again, just thinking about risk in an organic and balanced way. What risks do new technologies pose, but also what risks do those technologies potentially eliminate altogether?
I'm going to stop it there. So she talks about risks. The old financial system was fraught with risks, but using new technology like RippleNet, and she says, it's not a perfect system. There are still risks involved, but it is way less risky than what companies are using today. And this, again, was from the BIS, okay, a standard-setting body coming out of Basel, Switzerland, and looking specifically to Karen Gifford, the Chief Compliance Officer at Ripple Labs, for this direction. Now, Mr. Mann also did bring up this tweet here from Smoke here, Basel III requirements for cryptocurrency. And if I bring that up real quickly, Basel III requirements for crypto, we need tokenized assets that are stabilization mechanisms. So always looking at the risk factors involved here. Failed classification conditions posing higher risks, and infrastructure risk add-ons. The flexibility model allows adjustments based on observed weaknesses. So always looking at the security factors involved. Stablecoin requirements must pass redemption risk test and be regulated for Group 1 eligibility. Exposure risks, Group 2 exposure capped at 1% of Tier 1 capital, 2% threshold triggers stricter treatment, and other requirements here, operational risk, liquidity leverage ratio, and large exposure guidelines, plus disclosure mandates. So the requirements, the Basel III requirements for such a new emerging asset class is becoming very apparent. Way back when this presentation was being made, they were already talking about risks associated. And so, Ripple has been working tirelessly to do this so that institutions do leverage their payment system rather than their competitors. But of course, a lot of this is going to depend on the current administration. Luckily for Ripple, Stuart Alderoty has just made it clear from this presentation. Well, he's made clear a few things, but that Ripple has been talking to not only Trump's team, but also the Kamala Harris campaign about cryptocurrency. And here's what he had to say about that and some other things, guys. Courtesy of Jungle Inc. here, listen to this.
Ripple has always been a compliance-first company, and we've been around for 12 years. And we have always engaged with regulators and policymakers, and we're doing it so again this election cycle. Both with the Republicans and the Democrats. We showed up at the RNC convention, we showed up at the DNC convention. We have met with the Trump campaign, we have met with the Harris campaign. Trump clearly, and the RNC clearly, has been very vocal. You look at their platform statement from their convention, 16 pages. One paragraph clearly on crypto, saying we're going to stop the U.S. war on crypto and make the U.S. the crypto capital of the world. The Harris campaign has not been so public, but privately, they have said that they are interested in hitting the reset button. So I do think that policy comes first, that policymakers in this country have to remove the impetus for unelected bureaucrats who are running these regulatory agencies to create policy through enforcement. And whether or not we get that through a Republican administration, a Democratic administration, or some combination of both, what is clear is that crypto is here to stay, and crypto has become a credible voice in the political conversation, and we need to be listened to.
If Trump wins, crypto wins. If Harris wins, Stu, to your point, whatever they whispered to you, take it with a grain of salt. Remember that reset button in Moscow, too. didn't really work so well. So I think one way or the other, it's going to come down to legislation. I do see a pathway to legislation, regardless of who wins the election. But it's sort of what happens between the election and the legislation. And legislation takes a long time.
If Vice President Harris wins, everything's going to change. But government and policy come down to people and incentives. And look, lover or hater, Senator Warren is amazingly effective. And she's most effective at controlling certain agencies. And the way she does that is controlling who goes in to run those agencies. So whether it be the CFTC or the SEC or the OCC or the FTC. And if you noticed, she came out real early and real hard for Kamala Harris for president. So this concept of, oh, President Harris wins and everything changes, I'll tell you one thing that I don't think is going to change is Senator Warren gets to decide who runs the SEC. And Senator Warren isn't interested in being helpful to crypto. She isn't interested in defining what is a security, what isn't a security, what is DeFi, what isn't DeFi, what can be done, what can't be done, how do we bring innovation in this country. She hates all of it. So I don't see anything changing in a Democratic administration. Could even potentially get worse, although that's certainly not my hope, and I'm not fear-mongering. But I just don't see things getting better.
I mean, some people here have their own opinions on that, too. I feel like Stuart Alderoty was the only one being somewhat diplomatic here. We had Gallagher, who is Dan Gallagher from Robinhood, basically stating that the Trump administration is the only administration that will help cryptocurrency. Same with Thomas Farley here. Nothing is going to change under Harris. Now, Stuart Alderoty did say some other interesting things at this event. This one courtesy of XRP drops here. It's a 7-minute video. I will link it in the description of the video for you guys, but I'm only going to play a few clips, one near the beginning and one near the end. Listen to this.
Ripple has always been a compliance-first company, and we've been around for 12 years. And we have always engaged with regulators and policymakers, and we're doing it so again this election cycle. Both with the Republicans and the Democrats. We showed up at the RNC convention. We showed up at the DNC convention. We have met with the Trump campaign. We have met with the Harris campaign. Trump clearly, and the RNC clearly, has been very vocal. You look at their platform statement from their convention, 16 pages, one paragraph, clearly on crypto, saying we're going to stop the U.S. war on crypto and make the U.S. the crypto capital of the world. The Harris campaign has not been so public, but privately, they have said that they are interested in hitting the reset button. So I do think that policy comes first, that policymakers in this country have to remove the impetus for unelected bureaucrats who are running these regulatory agencies to create policy through enforcement. And whether or not we get that through a Republican administration, a Democratic administration, or some combination of both, what is clear is that crypto is here to stay, and crypto has become a credible voice in the political conversation, and we need to be listened to. So our core product has always been cross-border payments, using blockchain and crypto to help traditional financial institutions move money faster and more cheaply and more transparently than they can. We realize that to be the one-stop shop, we need to also provide the custody solution and a stablecoin, which can be a proxy for any digital asset that you want to use on the blockchain to make that happen. So we're going all in on all three pillars. And part of it also will become the tokenization of real-world assets. And I think eventually, and that is getting a lot of traction outside of the U.S. in all of the jurisdictions that Tom talked about, all of the jurisdictions where we have customers. And hopefully when this regulatory cloud is lifted and we get some policy clarity in the U.S., we will then be the most trusted source for enterprise support for crypto solutions in the U.S.
Wow. So even Stuart Alderoty here saying, it's that regulatory cloud of uncertainty that is preventing Ripple right now at this moment to be that number one company in the United States. But they're saying, once there is no longer that uncertainty, Ripple will be the number one company for all those things. This is why they're going all in on the stablecoin, why they're going all in on custody with the Medico partnership, for example, and also obviously their first use case, the one that they started with, cross-border payments. So that is huge news, guys, coming from Stuart Alderoty, Ripple's in-house counsel. Remember, The powers that be want this system to be controlled. It is no secret, guys. Short and exactly to the point, this coming from Chad Steingraber here. They are scared to death about the real threat, which is decentralization. Everything that they've done to try to stop crypto has been about this. Here's a clip of Tom Emmer, real quick here, guys, 17 seconds. Listen to this.
They are scared to death. And this is where the Elizabeth Warren attitude comes from, of decentralization, because you know what it changes? It restores what this country was built on, which is by the people from the ground up.
And so crypto is a threat. Long and the short of it, this is why Elizabeth Warren is shaking. And this is why we've got guys like John Deaton looking to unseat her. A decentralized crypto system is going to mean less control. There are, of course, going to be measures in place for that financial system, though, in the United States and globally. Luckily for us, Ripple is already gearing up for when that U.S. clarity does come, as per Stuart Alderoty here. So just hodl, guys. I mean, you know, make sure you keep a portion for the longer term. I have a plan over there at patreon.com/workingmoney channel if you guys are interested. It is only $5 a month, but that is just my opinion. I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.